What's going on, guys? Britta back with more free code camp. Learn CSS variables by building a city skyline, and we are on exercise 20. So the buildings are currently stacked on top of each other. Align the buildings by turning the dot background buildings element into a flex box parent. So display flex, use the align items, and justify content to evenly space the buildings across the bottom of the element. Justify content, space evenly. Something's not right here. Align items of flex end. Okay. Okay, so that's the new ones. All right. Step 21. The buildings are too spaced out. Squeeze them together by adding 2 empty div elements to the top of the dot background buildings element. So to the top. So here, div elements. All right, we added 2 div elements, 2 more at the bottom of it, and 1 more in between dot bb3 and dot bb4. 2 at the bottom. So here. I think that's right. Okay. Create a new variable below your dash dash building color. 1 variable. Name your new variable dash dash building color 2 and give it a value of 66cc99. Then set it as the background color of .bb2. So .bb2, how do I do that? Okay, .bb2 background color var, not car, var, dash dash building color 2. That did not seem to work. Okay, it did work, however, it didn't change anything yet, so that didn't work. Okay, so I was right. You should add a fallback value to a variable by putting it as the second value of where you use the variables like this. So var variable name fallback value. The property will use the fallback value when there's a problem with the variable. Add a fallback value of green to the background color of ... So we're going to do this green. Okay, so that changed that. All right, create a new variable below the other ones. Building color 3 and cc6699. We're gonna do the bb3 background color var 3, and then I don't remember what the fallback color was. Pink. So pink. And it already changed it. Awesome. Okay. That didn't work because the variables you declared in .bb1 do not cascade to the bb2, bb3 sibling elements. That's just how CSS works. Because of this, variables are often declared in the root selector. This is the highest level selector in CSS. Putting your variables there will make them usable everywhere. Add the root selector to the top. So root, and then we're gonna put in this cut there. And now it is working. Okay, now that you've worked the bugs out and the buildings are the right colors, you can move the fallback values in the 2 places they were used. Go ahead and do that now. You can remove them. So we're going to remove the green and we're going to remove pink. Whoops. Okay. All right, create another variable named building color 4 and set it to 538 CC6. And then what color is that going to be? Blue, but it's not popping up. Oh, use it to fill in the last building. And so we did all of those. We need to do VB4. There we go. Awesome. All right, the background buildings are starting to look pretty good. Create a new div below the background. So div, give it a class of foreground buildings. You want the foreground buildings container to sit directly on top of the background buildings element. All right, so foreground buildings, and we want to set a width, oh my gosh, of width and height of 100%. We want to set the position to absolute and the top to 0. This will make it the same size as the body and move the start of it to the top left corner. Next, nest 6 div elements within the foreground buildings. So div, and they want 6 of these. Let me go ahead and do this. Class equals FB1. And then I'll just change that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's change this. Okay. These will be 6 more buildings for the foreground. All right, give the 6 new elements these width and height values. And okay, this is a lot. So give the 6 new elements. So first we're going to do dot FB1 and then width 10%, height 60%. Excuse me. All right. Dot FB2. 10%. Height. %. Dot FB3. 10%, 35%, FB4. You know what? I should just do this. 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. All right, so 4 needs to be 8 and 45. 5 needs to be 10 and 33. And 6 needs to be 9 and 38. All right. There we go. Add the same display, align items, and justify content properties to and values to foreground buildings that you used on the background buildings. Again, this will use Flexbox to evenly space. So we're going to do display flex. We're going to do align items. What do we do? Align items, flex end, and space evenly. So flex end, justify content, space evenly. And there we go. Starting to look pretty cool. All right, you should optimize your code. Move the position and top properties and values from foreground buildings to background buildings, then move the position and top from foreground buildings. Where's foreground buildings? Position and top, cut, from foreground buildings to background buildings. Then select both there, effectively applying. So dot foreground buildings. That applies the styles to both of them. You can use a comma to separate selectors like this. And I think that should be good. Position property of absolute. Did I not move that? You should add the position property of absolute to background buildings dot foreground buildings. That's background. Oh, there's no dash there. All right, let's try to submit it now. There we go. Okay, now that you did that, you can delete the old foreground buildings declaration and all of its properties since they aren't needed anymore. The skyline is coming together. Fill in the background color property of the foreground buildings. Use your -- building 1 color variable to fill in FB3 and FB4. So building color 1 to fill in FB3. All right, FB3 and FB4. Okay, building color 2 to fill in FB5. Three to fill in 2 and 6. And then 4 for FB1. That looks pretty cool. I don't know what's going on with this though. Like, why is that building so different? Still cool though. Squeeze the buildings together again by adding 2 empty div elements within both the top and bottom of the foreground buildings. So div. All right, and it said 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and 1 more in between F2 and F3. Okay. And move the position of FB4 relative to where it is now by adding a position of relative and a left of 10%. Do the same for FB5, but use right instead of left. Okay, cover up the remaining white space in between the buildings. That looks pretty cool. Okay, your code is starting to get quite long. Add a comment above the FB1 class. Where's the FB1 class? That says foreground buildings. Where's the .fb1? Okay, FB1 right there. Foreground buildings. FB stands for foreground buildings to help people understand that your code. Above the BB1 class, add another comment that says background buildings. BB stands for background building. Okay, so we need to do this, and then we need to say background buildings. BB stands for background building. All right, and then we need to close that. And then I'm gonna copy this and put this above the FB1 here. And then we're gonna say foreground buildings. FB stands for foreground building. Let me make sure that was right. I think that's right. Okay. All right. We're at step 38. I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here, but we will be continuing on step 39 on the next one. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.